Hey everyone, welcome to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your hosty Cafe con Leche for the next hour. Always inviting you to get social with us online, that is. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BxRx TV and like us on Facebook at Open BxRx Television. And of course, while you're there, follow moi on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So October is Sudden Cardiac Awareness Month, and our first guest lost her son to a sudden cardiac arrest 12 years ago, which led her to create the Dominic A Memorial Foundation. The organization's mission is to educate, promote awareness, create legislation, effectuate dramatic change in screening, diagnosis, immediate treatment of sudden cardiac arrest. And joining us to tell us more, we welcome founder Melinda Murray-Nyack. Hello and welcome.
Thank you, Rhina. Thanks for having me. It's a great opportunity to tell Dominic's story to save other lives. So I really appreciate being your guest this morning.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your efforts and for making it your mission, especially after such a tragic loss, right? So let's talk a little bit about your son and what that was for you. Because obviously that was the catalyst behind creating this foundation and a movement, because that's what you're doing and that's what you've been doing for the past 11 years.
Yes. So my son Dominic, he was just like any other kid. He was happy, energetic, athletic. He could be anyone's brother, son, child. And my son loved to play the sport of basketball. He was playing since the age of 7, CYO, AAU, varsity, and then he was about to play college basketball at Farmingdale State College. 7 weeks into his college career, he was playing a game of open gym pickup basketball in the college gymnasium. And in the middle of a routine layup, his heart stopped and he collapsed on the gym floor. No one recognized that Dominic was experiencing what later became known to me a sudden cardiac arrest episode. And why would they? He seemed vibrant. He was minutes before, going around the court and he was drilling and bawling. Why would they think it had something to do with the heart? They were not aware. They did not recognize the signs.
And so what you're saying is that when he would do go for physicals, he would actually be sent back with a clean slate of good health, in great health.
Exactly, Rhina. He was diagnosed healthy at every well child visit. He passed every pre-participation sports physical. And just a few weeks before going off to college, he was given the clean bill of health that he was okay to play. And that wasn't the case. We did not know that Dominic was born with a congenital heart defect until his autopsy revealed it. So in 2009, October 5th, 2009, it just made 12 years, Dominic died from a sudden cardiac arrest. And just 3 years before that, his father had a massive heart attack and died. So in the span of 3 years, I lost my entire family. I was suddenly a widow and a parent who lost her only child.
Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Especially unexpected, right?
Both were unexpected.
Yes. And that's what this conversation is about, in just really taking whatever measures necessary to prevent, if at all possible, which is where this, we're calling it Dom Heart 21, was created and why it was created. So my condolences. I know it's 12 years now, but I'm sure you're still feeling that deeply, because that was a lot right there, a 3-year span, losing your family, and yet you're still forging forward, and now you're trying to make sure that it doesn't happen in other people's households.
Yes. So doing research, trying to find out what happened to my son. What is sudden cardiac arrest? How come I didn't know about sudden cardiac arrest? How come no one knew what to do right away? I found out that it's preventable. 23,000 young people under the age of 18 die from sudden cardiac arrest every year. And it's preventable. It's preventable through heart screenings of youth. It's preventable through people knowing CPR and how to use an AED. It's preventable by having AEDs readily available to deliver that life-saving shock should it become necessary. Anyone can learn how to save a life. Preventive measures with educating people on sudden cardiac arrest, its signs, symptoms, and risks is important. And that's what we built this crusade on. That's what we built this mission on. Everything that Dominic did not have in his favor during that time, we built into his foundation, and we've achieved many milestones. But what it's doing for me is, I lost my only child, but someone else's child is able to go home to them. And that's what it's about.
Right. And so you've created a legislation, right? So Dominic's legislation, which is the Dominic Murray Sudden Cardiac Arrest Prevention Act. And just talk to us and share with our viewers how you're implementing this in schools and how you're training individuals and what that looks like as far as registering or even partnering up with schools so that they understand. Just reviewing everything that I've read. It's something that is, for me, something that it should be required in every school to have.
Yes. So let me just unpack it a bit about what the programs are. So legislation is critical. I'll start with that. For 10 years, we've been trying to ensure that schools, public and non-public schools, students and their families, educational staff, and athletic staff know about what sudden cardiac arrest is, its signs, symptoms, and risks. It took 10 years to get that legislation really pushed forward. And every year that it didn't make it through the session, we continued, we made that legislation stronger. We want to ensure that parents like myself, like you, like other parents out there, receive this information as part of pre-participation sports physicals, as well as permission slips, consent forms to participate in gym. I would like to point out that sudden cardiac arrest is the #1 killer of student athletes in the United States, and it's the leading cause of death on school campuses. So where would you provide this information so parents can know about it? How do you reach the households? Through the schools. It's right now on the governor's desk, waiting to be signed, and the New York State Assembly and Senate know the importance of this bill because they unanimously passed it in June. Now, in addition to understanding and knowing about sudden cardiac arrest, CPR and AED training is critical. Anyone can learn how to save a life. It's critical because knowing cardiopulmonary resuscitation and how to use an AED and understanding that the AED is so easy to use, just turning it on and following the prompts, and it can't hurt you. That device cannot hurt you. It only delivers a shock if it's necessary. That training is critical in the schools. A couple of years back, I helped lobby for the CPR in schools bill. It passed actually 6 years ago. In New York State, it's required for every student to learn CPR and how to use an AED before they graduate. And that was made possible through the American Heart Association.
That's wonderful. No, I just in case people don't know what AED is, it's the automated external defibrillator, and that's actually an intimidating machine. So this is news to me as well. That's actually part of a program with students. That's wonderful.
And schools need to implement it more. It's been it's been passed for 6 years. Some schools have started it, and others are having a little trouble getting it, together to implement it in their program. And programs like myself, foundations like myself, the American Heart Association, a national organization that our foundation also collaborates with, Parent Heart Watch. Information is available out there on heart screening, CPR, AEDs, in many states. New York State should not be behind. And we were behind in so many areas, especially with the Sudden Cardiac Arrest Prevention Act that is critical to a life-saving measure. And I also want to talk about heart screenings.
Right.
Heart screenings are critical too, because as you know, as I talked about, my son was diagnosed healthy. A heart screening that includes an electrocardiogram, EKG, and an echocardiogram, an echo, is critical. Kids need to be screened, whether they're competitive athletes or non-competitive. I mean, We
Right.
provide free heart screenings twice a year, and so far, a little over 5,000 kids have been screened. 102 have been identified at risk, so their problems were detected. And out of the 21,000 people that we trained in CPR, 4 lives have been saved. So
That's
it's necessary.
it is necessary, and it makes a difference. And I want to thank you for bringing it here to our viewers. Melinda Murray-Nyack, she's making sure that we are all operating with the intent of being thorough, right? Listed in
Yes.
not taking our health for granted. So thank you. Thank you again for sharing your story, and thank you for forging forward with this mission and for choosing to save the lives of our future generations. All right, you guys, once again, to donate and learn more information about Dom Heart 21, you can visit domheart21.org. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll talk about how one Bronx native is being honored for her service during the pandemic. Don't go anywhere.